Seneb, Uja. Oracles in ancient Egypt were not a person who is the voice of the gods like we know them to be in ancient Rome and in Greece. Instead, the oracle was a statue of a deity that was placed on a beautifully decorated sacred bark that was held by 6 to 8 Wab priests. Many cities had an oracle within the major temples. A lot of the times, the deity that was on the bark was either the temple's main deity or the city's patron deity. Now, I'm not entirely sure if people had daily access to the oracle in times of need or when questions arise, but the oracle was solidified within the community to keep order. The oracle's answers were simple ones, not complex, as if a person was actually voicing the opinion/decision of the gods. Instead, the wabs holding the bark would be moved towards certain directions to indicate a yes, no, or maybe answer. Think of it like the Ouija board. It's the spirit that's moving the cursor while the group of people are touching it. Now, there are many reasons why the oracle would be consulted. A mother who is looking to become pregnant, a father hoping to get a job, a family looking for answers, a person wanting to enter the temple as a priest but needs to consult the oracle first, or the oracle would be consulted when a crime took place. Like today, the ancient Egyptians held trials for individuals accused of a crime, but there were some differences between how we provide a guilty verdict in comparison to the ancient Egyptians. If a man was accused of a crime, he would be brought before the oracle with his peers among them, and he would ask for the god or gods to prove his innocence in the crime. The god or gods would then move the bark towards the answer, which indicates guilty or non-guilty. If the bark indicates a non-guilty verdict, the person is absolved and everyone goes back to their daily lives. But that's depending on if it's a serious crime or not, but let's focus on the petty crimes for now. If the bark does indicate a guilty verdict, then the gods have passed judgment like a jury would today. But the individual does have the option to appeal the verdict of the gods by going to a different oracle to prove his innocence. There is one story of a man who was accused of thievery and consulted 3 different oracles who all found him guilty. Giving up, he finally declared that he indeed had stolen and confessed to his crime. The oracle was also very popular during festivals, especially during the beautiful Feast of Opet. Once the Theban triad had arrived at Luxor, the people would then be admitted to ask the triad a question where the pharaoh would answer for the gods and the people would leave offerings for the gods and love the pharaoh and love for the pharaoh would be renewed, as well as many other reconnections during the festival. During the later years of ancient Egypt, the oracle became less divine and more about cheating the answers. For example, the priesthood became increasingly popular as the pharaoh's popularity lowered, and as the priesthood garnered respect, money, and reputation, especially within their city, they pretty much ran them. The Wab priests and priests in general would then fake the answers to get what they want. One example is if they didn't like a priest, to kick him out, they had to consult the oracle. If the priests who didn't like the person were holding the bark, they would purposefully rock the bark that would answer in a way that would kick the priest out. It is the same for bringing in a person as well to become a priest. If they like the person, it's the same method. They would rock the bark for the answer they wanted, and the high priest translating the movement would be completely unaware of it. Despite that, the oracle was a huge staple to the Egyptian people and their livelihoods when it was used for exactly what it's intended.